They laughed at you. They laughed because you dared to dream differently. They laughed because you didn't follow the crowd. But let me tell you something. Let them laugh. Let them joke. Let them gossip. Because the same ones who mock your hustle now will be the ones clapping when the spotlight finds you. It's easy to laugh when someone's at the bottom. It's easy to talk when you don't know the grind. But what they don't realize is that while they're laughing, you're building. See, I've been there. People thought I was crazy. People thought I lost it. Sleeping in abandoned buildings. No food. No support. They thought I was finished. But what they didn't know was I was in training. While they were busy mocking, I was mastering. While they were chilling, I was grinding. They saw me at zero and assumed I would stay there. But the truth is, zero was just my starting line, not my finish. You gotta understand this. Your grind is invisible, but your results will be loud. You can't expect the world to clap for your effort before it sees the outcome. You're in the shadows now, working, sacrificing, sweating, and nobody's clapping. But keep going, keep pushing, because one day that silence will turn into standing ovation. Why do they laugh? Because they don't see the vision. They don't see the late nights, the early mornings, the heartbreaks, the failures. They don't see the fight. They don't see the pain. They don't know the fire that burns inside you. But that's okay, because this isn't about them. It's about you becoming who you were created to be. The laughter, that's fuel. Every joke, that's gasoline to your hustle. People laugh because it's easier to mock than to move. It's easier to judge than to join. It's easier to sit in the stands and critique the one in the arena. But don't you dare come down. Don't you stop climbing. One day they'll clap, not because they believed in you, but because they can't deny you anymore. When you stay consistent, you don't have to scream. Your success will speak louder than any words you could ever say. So when they laugh, smile. When they doubt you, grind harder. When they turn their backs, face your goals. Because I promise you, when you win, and you will win, they will clap. Some will clap in admiration, some in regret, but they will clap. Keep pushing, keep fighting, keep showing up when no one's watching. Because one day the world will. And when that day comes, you'll remember all the laughter, not with pain, but with pride. They don't see it. They don't see what you're doing behind the scenes. They don't see the early mornings when your alarm goes off before the sun even rises. They don't see the nights when you're still at it, grinding, planning, studying, perfecting your craft while everyone else has already gone to bed. They don't see the pain, the sacrifices, the discipline. They only see what's in front of them. And right now, that might not be much. That's why they laugh. That's why they whisper. That's why they count you out. But what they don't know is you're building something. You're working on something massive. Your grind is invisible, but your results, they will be undeniable. You don't have to announce every move. You don't need to broadcast your hustle. The real ones move in silence. The ones who really want it don't have time to talk about it. They're too busy chasing it. You don't need validation right now. You don't need clap. You don't need claps. You don't need eyes on you. What you need is focus, hunger, and execution. Every rep in the gym, every line written in your notebook, every second spent learning your craft is another brick laid in the foundation of your success. They might not see the structure now, but one day it's going to be a fortress. One day it's going to be a kingdom, and they won't be able to deny it. The grind isn't supposed to be glamorous. It's not designed to be seen. It's supposed to test you. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to shape you into someone that can handle what's coming. Because the truth is, most people want success, but they can't handle the weight that comes with it. That's why they'll never get it. You're different. You're the one who's willing to go through the dark, the silence, the setbacks, because you know what's waiting on the other side. People will laugh because they don't understand sacrifice. They think you're crazy for saying no to parties, for walking away from comfort, for investing time and energy into something that isn't giving you immediate rewards. They don't understand that greatness is never built in public. It's built in those lonely hours when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when you feel like quitting, but you keep going anyway. That's the grind. That's the invisible path to success. The world doesn't need to understand. They just need to see the results when you're done. You see, results don't lie. People lie. Opinions lie. Feelings lie, but results, they speak a language everybody understands. They shut down doubters, they silence critics, and they turn laughter into applause. When you walk across that stage, when your name is called, when your business takes off, when your dream becomes real, when the world will see what you were doing all along. But you got to be willing to stay in the shadows until you've got to be patient enough to grow without an audience, strong enough to believe even when no one else does, hungry enough to work when no one's paying attention. The invisible grind is where the real champions are made. That's where your character's forged. That's where discipline is created. That's where you learn who you really are. Because when there's no praise, when there's no support, when there's no recognition, that's when your why becomes everything. And if your why is strong enough, nothing can break you. Not fame, not rejection, not time. You'll keep showing up because you know the work you're putting in is stacking. Every single day, you're making deposits into your future. They might not pay off today, they might not pay off next week, but they will. They always do. So don't get discouraged because people don't see your grind. That's not their job. Their job is to doubt. Your job is to deliver. Your job is to keep working in silence until your success is so loud it drowns out everything else. Let them talk. Let them sleep. Let them scroll while you build. Let them laugh. Because one day you'll be living a life they can't even imagine, and they'll be clapping. Not because they believed in you, not because they helped you, but because they can't ignore you anymore. And when that day comes, you won't need to say a word. Your life will be the answer to every doubt, every laugh, every insult. They laugh now, but your results will speak later. And when they do, they won't just speak, they'll roar. They laugh because they don't see what you see. They laugh because their vision is limited. Their belief system is restricted to only what's visible and obvious. They laugh because you dare to step outside the norm, to go against the grain, to walk a road not crowded with company or comfort. You started talking differently. You started dreaming bigger. You started moving with purpose. And that made people uncomfortable. Because when you chase a vision that's bigger than your current situation, people who don't believe in themselves can't but laugh at you. Not because you're funny, but because your boldness reminds them of their own fear. Your courage exposes their comfort. You have to understand that not everyone is going to understand the vision God gave you. Not everyone is supposed to. It wasn't a conference call. It was a private download straight to your heart, to your spirit, to your mind. So they don't see the blueprint. They don't see the architecture in your thoughts. They don't see the empire you're building brick by brick inside your soul. All they see is the present moment. And right now you might be broke, struggling, failing, stumbling, or still at the starting line. And because they judge based on the outside, because they don't know what's happening on the inside, they laugh. But here's the truth, you don't need them to see it. You don't need their applause. You don't need their agreement. You need your vision, your belief, your discipline, and your commitment to keep showing up. Because the people who laugh first are rarely the ones clapping at the end. That's not your concern. Your concern is holding tight to the picture you have in your mind. That future you feel deep in your gut. That thing that keeps you awake at night and pushes you out of bed in the morning. That's your compass. That's what matters. Not their opinions, not their jokes, not their side eye. Think about every innovator, every trailblazer, every world changer they were laughed at too. People said they were crazy. People said they were wasting time. People told them to be realistic, to settle down, to stop chasing impossible dreams. And if they had listened to those voices, we wouldn't have the breakthroughs, the inventions, the inspiration we have today. So what makes you think your path is going to be any different? Of course they're going to laugh. That's how you know you're on the right path. That laughter is confirmation that you're doing something bold, something daring, something that the average mind can't comprehend. When people don't understand your journey, they criticize it. That's human nature. But don't let their misunderstanding become your limitation. Don't shrink your dream to fit their comfort zone. You weren't built for average. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to break through. And breaking through means some people are going to laugh while you're in process. Let them. Let them doubt. Let them talk. You're not here for their approval. You're here to grow into the version of you that changes everything. You need to stay committed to the vision even when there's no proof yet. Even when nothing around you looks like what's in your mind. Even when the doors aren't opening, the money's not coming in, the opportunities aren't showing up, you still stay loyal to the vision. Because it's not about what you see right now. It's about what you know is possible. And if you hold on long enough, Work hard enough, sacrifice deeply enough one day, the vision will become visible. One day, the same people who laughed will look up and realize they weren't laughing at a failure. They were laughing at a seed in the soil. And now it's grown into something undeniable. The problem with most people is they need outside validation to keep going. But the truth is, the strongest people, the real visionaries, they operate on internal conviction. They don't need a crowd. They don't need a stage. They don't need likes or followers or support. They just need that fire in their gut that says, this is mine to do. This is mine to build. This is my purpose. And when you're moving like that, it doesn't matter who's laughing. You're too focused. You're too dialed in. You're too committed to get distracted by noise. One day you're going to wake up and everything you dreamed about is going to be real. Not because it magically happened, but because you believed when no one else did. You stayed focused when others lost interest. You kept building when others quit. You endured the laughter, the criticism, the silence, and still move forward. That's what it takes. And when that day comes, you won't even need to say, I told you so. You'll just keep winning. You'll keep rising. You'll keep living the life they said was impossible. Let them laugh, because one day the joke will be how they ever doubted you. They disrespected you because they didn't understand your potential. They overlooked you, underestimated you, talked down to you, because in their minds, you didn't look like success. You didn't sound like greatness. You didn't have the evidence, the resources, the applause, so they laughed. They mocked your dreams. They questioned your decisions. They said you were wasting your time, chasing illusion. They didn't just doubt your vision, they disrespected your journey. But what they failed to realize was that disrespect now becomes applause later. The very same people who dismiss you, who counted you out, will be the ones trying to stand and cheer when the results finally show up. See, that's the nature of human behavior. When people don't understand your grind, when they can't measure your dream by their limited standards, they minimize. When you start small, they call it silly. When you walk away from the crowd to build something on your own, they label it foolish. They don't realize that your silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. That your discipline isn't dull, it's determination. That your steps may look small, but they're leading to something massive. You're not in this for temporary applause. You're in this for permanent impact. And that means you've got to be okay with being doubted, being disrespected, being laughed at. Because one day, those very same people will have no choice but to respect the results. It's easy to disrespect a seed because it doesn't look like a tree. But you know what's inside that seed. You know what's buried inside you. The skills, the strength, the greatness, the passion. It hasn't surfaced yet, but it's there. And just because they can't see, it doesn't mean it isn't real. Just because they don't applaud now doesn't mean they won't later. Every moment you keep going, every time you choose to show up when it's hard, every sacrifice you make when no one is watching, you're adding weight to the legacy. You're stacking up evidence for the day when nobody can deny who you are and what you built. And disrespect is fuel. Let them talk. Let them throw shade. Let them bet against you. Because you're not doing it for them. You're doing it to prove to yourself that you are right to believe. You're doing it because you owe it to the version of you that kept going when it made no sense to keep going. You owe it to the part of you that kept believing when there was no evidence. You owe it to the dreams that kept whispering even when your reality was screaming. Disrespect doesn't stop destiny, it triggers it. Every you can't becomes one more reason to prove that you can. Every you're not enough becomes the reason to show you're more than enough. Most people don't see potential, they see results. That's why they don't treat you with the respect you deserve right now. That's why they talk down to you or ignore you or act like your dream is a joke. But that's okay, because you weren't built for recognition. You were built for resilience. You weren't created to impress people. You were created to impact lives. And that doesn't come with instant validation. It comes with pain, patience, it's process. And once you've walked through the fire, once you face the storms, once you've overcome the obstacles they said would break you, that's when the claps start. Not before, not when you're starting, but when you win. And trust me, you will win, because you're not relying on hype. You're relying on work. You're not chasing applause. You're chasing purpose. And that's the difference. You're not in this to be liked. You're in this to be legendary. Legends are always doubted before they're praised. They're always dismissed before they're demanded. They're always disrespected before they're applauded. That's just a journey. So don't let the disrespect shake you. Let it shape you. Let it shape you. Let it sharpen you. Let it push you harder. There will be a day when they have to acknowledge what you've done. When your name comes up in rooms you've never stepped into. When your work speaks louder than their doubt. When your results shut down every negative word spoken against you. When they stand, clap, and say, well, we always knew, even though you know they did, even though they laughed. Oh, they laughed. Even though they mocked. Even though they turned their backs when you needed support. But you won't be bitter. You'll just smile. Because you know that the disrespect was part of the process. The applause will come. But you've got to earn it. You've got to walk through every dark night. You've got to endure every lonely moment. You got to build when nobody believes. Because it's in those moments of disrespect that you develop the strength to carry success. It's in the silence that you find your voice. It's in the doubt that you discover your power. And when it's all said and done, they'll clap loud, long, but it won't change you. Consistency is the real separator, not talent, not luck, not timing. It's consistency. The world loves to celebrate the highlight reel, the end results, the moments of glory. But it's the unseen, uncelebrated, unglamorous discipline done over and over again that builds a champion. And when the noise fades, when the crowd is gone, when the lights are off, the only thing that keeps you moving forward is your consistency. It's what silences the critics. It's what turns doubt into respect. Not by arguing, not by defending yourself, but by showing up again and again until there's no argument left to make. You don't need to talk back to the critics when your consistency speaks louder than any word you could ever say. You have to realize people will doubt you when you're inconsistent. They'll use your failures, your setbacks, your bad days as proof that you're not serious. They'll watch and wait for you to fall again. But when you keep showing up, when you keep rising every time you fall, when you stay locked in through the storm, that's when the critics start to fade. Not because they believe in you, but because they can no longer deny you. You take the power away from their words every time you refuse to quit. You drown out their doubt with your discipline. That's how consistency silences critics, by turning your life into undeniable evidence. Most people underestimate consistency because they overvalue intensity. They think grinding hard for one day, 1 week, or 1 month is enough to earn the win. But it's not. It's not about how hard you can go once. It's about how often you can show up when you don't feel like it. It's about choosing to commit to the process when the results don't come right away. It's about saying yes to the grind when everything in your life is giving you a reason to say no. That's real strength. That's real power. That's what separates the ones who talk from the ones who execute. Consistency is showing up when you don't see progress. It's doing the work when you feel stuck. It's pushing through the boredom, the fatigue, the doubt. It's building the habit, the rhythm, the mindset that no matter what's happening outside of you, you're going to keep your promise to yourself. Critics don't understand that. They only see the surface. They don't know about the sacrifices, the lonely nights, the tears, the setbacks you overcame just to keep going. But they don't need to, because eventually your progress will speak for itself. Your life will become the proof. You don't have to explain your dreams to anyone. You don't have to justify why you're building what you're building. Just build. Just grind. Just show up every single day with the same hunger, the same focus, the same commitment. And in time, the same people who question your purpose will be the ones sharing your quotes, reposting your success, clapping from the sidelines. Not because they ever believed in you, but because they can't ignore you anymore. They may not like you. They may never admit they were wrong, but your consistency will shut their mouths and open their eyes. Understand this. The world respects results, and results are born from consistency. Not from magic, not from connections, not even from raw talent alone. Talent without consistency is wasted. Potential without discipline goes nowhere. It's the person who shows up when it's hard, when it's quiet, when it's unrewarding, that ends up with the life others only dream about. So keep your head down and your work ethic up. Let them say what they want. Let them laugh. Let them judge. That's none of your concern. Your only job is to stay consistent enough that the truth of your effort becomes too loud to be denied. Even when you feel like nobody sees you, the work is working. Even when it feels slow, something is growing. Consistency doesn't always produce quick results, but it always produces lasting ones. And those are the ones that matter. The results that can't be taken from you. The strength that becomes part of your identity. The mindset that becomes unshakable. The lifestyle that doesn't break under pressure. You build that by showing up on the days you feel least motivated. On the days when your excuses feel louder than your purpose. On the days when giving up feels easier than going on. You want to silence your critics? Stop talking and start repeating. Repeat the discipline, repeat the habits, repeat the late nights, the early mornings, the grind. Let your routine become your roar. Let your actions do the talking. Because there will come a time when your name is mentioned in rooms you never enter. There will come a time when the same people who doubted you will ask how you did it, and you won't have to say much. All you'll need to say is, I didn't stop. I didn't stop. I didn't flinch. I stayed consistent. Through it all, I stayed consistent. That's the edge. That's the answer. That's how you rise. It's not glamorous. It's not loud, but it's effective. Delayed validation is one of the hardest things to endure when you're chasing something bigger than yourself. It's tough to keep pushing forward when no one's watching, no one's cheering, no one's even acknowledging your effort. You're grinding in silence, sacrificing in the dark, showing up day after day with no reward, no recognition, and no promise that's going to pay off. That's the reality of chasing greatness. It doesn't come with instant gratification. It comes with waiting. It comes with patience. It comes with patience. It comes with lonely hours, misunderstood passion, and doing the right thing over and over and over again without anyone clapping for you. But if you can handle that kind of pressure, that kind of delay, then you're the kind of person who can handle real success. Most people want the trophy before they put in the training. They want the stage before they paid the price in silence. They want the results without the repetition. But life doesn't work like that. Purpose doesn't work like that. Legacy doesn't work like that. You have to go through the invisible seasons where it feels like nothing is happening, where it feels like the world has forgotten you or worse, ignored you on purpose. But those are the seasons that test your character. That's where the real ones are made. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Delayed validation teaches you to fall in love with the process. If the only reason you're grinding is for applause, you'll quit the moment people don't respond. But if you're grinding because it's in you, because it's who you are and what you're called to do, then you won't need external validation to keep going. You'll do it because you're committed. You'll do it because your purpose is louder than your pain. You'll do it because you understand that the results are coming, even if they're not here yet. You'll wake up, put in the work, and move with faith, not just fact. You have to be willing to be doubted for a while. You have to be okay with people not getting it. Dead. You have to stop needing people to believe in you just to believe in yourself. Because the truth is, most people don't believe until they see proof. But visionaries don't wait for proof. They walk with purpose before anything makes sense. They don't need a crowd. They don't need praise. They don't need evidence. They have vision. They have commitment. And that's what carries them through the seasons where it feels like the world is sleeping on. But don't get it twisted. Just because they're not clapping now doesn't mean they won't later. They will. The same people who ignored you will repost you. The same people who laughed will tell people they knew you. The same people who didn't return your calls will start reaching out like they always supported you. That's the game. That's the switch. But you don't do it for the switch. You do it for the calling. You do it because there's something inside of you that won't quit. No matter who's watching or who's clapping, that's what makes you different. There's a power in learning to validate yourself, in becoming your own motivation, and showing up with the same intensity on day one as you do on day 100, even if no one's noticed yet. When you can move without applause, without approval, without a crowd, you become unstoppable. Because now your drive isn't based on opinion. It's based on discipline. It's based on who you are when no one's looking. And that's the version of you that can handle everything success is going to bring. Because success brings pressure. It brings critics. It brings responsibility. And if you couldn't stay strong during the delay, you won't survive the demand. So embrace the delay. Don't resent it. Use it. Let it humble you. Let it refine you. Let it build the version of you that isn't just excited about the outcome but obsessed with the work. Because that version of you would outlast everything. The hype, the trend, the setbacks, the applause. And one day when the spotlight finally shows up, you'll be ready for it. Not just with talent, but with toughness. Not just with results, but with resilience. And when the validation finally comes, you'll appreciate it, but you won't need it. Because you already proved to yourself that you could win without it. Let them sleep. Let them scroll past you. Let them ignore what you're building. You're not here for quick claps. You're not here for momentary recognition. You're here to make noise that echoes for generations. And that kind of noise takes time to build. That kind of foundation takes time to lay. And if it takes longer than you thought, good. That means it's being built to last. Anybody can go viral overnight, but not everybody can build something that lasts a lifetime. That's the difference. So be patient. Be relentless, be consistent, and remember, delayed validation isn't denial. It's preparation. Your moment is coming. The claps are coming. The spotlight is coming. The spotlight is coming.